There's a moment every dog owner has experienced, but almost no one truly understands. You're sitting quietly. Maybe scrolling your phone. Maybe just thinking. And then you feel it, that silent wait. You look up. Your dog is already looking at you. Not blinking. Not moving. Just staring. And it's not random. It's not casual. It feels intentional. Almost like they're waiting. Watching. Trying to tell you something you can't quite hear. Most people laugh it off. Some feel slightly uncomfortable. Others assume it's just about food. But what if that stare isn't simple at all? What if, in that quiet moment, your dog is actually communicating something far deeper than words? Something emotional. Something instinctive. Something most owners completely miss. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because that stare is never just a stare. It begins in the smallest, most ordinary situations. You're eating dinner. Your dog sits a few feet away, eyes locked on you. You assume it's obvious. They want food. Maybe you even feel a little annoyed. But here's what most people miss. If it were only about food, your dog's behavior would look very different. They'd whine. Paw at you. Move closer. Show urgency. But instead, they sit still. Calm. Silent. Watching. This kind of stare isn't about hunger. It's about attention. Dogs are deeply social creatures. Over thousands of years, they've evolved not just to live with humans, but to read them. To study them. To understand patterns, emotions, even subtle changes in behavior. When your dog stares at you like this, they're not just hoping for a bite of food. They're studying you. Your face. Your hands. Your rhythm. They're asking a quiet question: what are you about to do? Because in your dog's world, you are the center of everything. Your movements signal safety. Your actions predict what happens next. And that stare? It's your dog trying to stay connected to your world. But it goes deeper than observation. There's another moment you've probably experienced. You're not doing anything exciting. No food. No toys. Just sitting. Maybe tired. Maybe a little stressed. And again, you look up. Your dog is staring at you. This time, it feels different. Softer. Slower. Almost emotional. And this is where things start to shift. Because this kind of stare isn't about what you're doing. It's about how you're feeling. Studies in canine behavior have shown that dogs are incredibly sensitive to human emotional states. They pick up on micro-expressions, tone changes, even shifts in breathing. But here's the part most people misunderstand. Dogs don't just notice your emotions. They respond to them. When your dog stares at you during these quiet moments, they may be trying to read your internal state. Trying to understand if you're okay. Trying to align themselves with you. It's a form of emotional checking. Almost like they're asking, "Are we good?" And this is where the bond between human and dog becomes something more than companionship. It becomes connection. But not all stares feel comforting. Sometimes, they feel intense. You walk into a room, and your dog is already watching you. Their body is still. Eyes focused. Almost alert. It can feel unsettling. Some people interpret this as dominance. Others think their dog is being stubborn or even challenging them. But here's what most people get wrong. In the majority of cases, this isn't about dominance at all. It's about uncertainty. Dogs rely heavily on clarity. On predictable patterns. When something feels off, even slightly, they seek information. And how do they do that? They look at you. Direct eye contact, in canine psychology, is powerful. In the wild, it can signal threat. But with humans, dogs have learned something different. eye contact can also mean guidance. So when your dog stares at you in that intense, unmoving way, they're not trying to challenge you. They're trying to understand you. Something in their environment doesn't fully make sense. Maybe it's a new sound, a new routine, a shift in your behavior. And in that moment, they turn to the one constant in their world: you. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because sometimes, your dog stares at you for no obvious reason at all. No food. No emotion. No change in environment. Just quiet eye contact. And this is the part most people completely overlook. Because this stare might be the most important one of all. There's a concept in neuroscience called mutual gaze. It's the act of two beings looking into each other's eyes, creating a shared emotional experience. In humans, it builds trust, connection, bonding. And remarkably, dogs experience something very similar. Research has shown that when dogs and their owners make prolonged eye contact, both experience a rise in oxytocin, the same hormone associated with love, bonding, and attachment. Think about that for a moment. Your dog isn't just looking at you. They're bonding with you. That quiet stare, the one that feels almost peaceful. It's your dog saying, "This moment matters." No words. No actions. Just presence. But here's what most people miss. We often break that moment too quickly. We look away. We distract ourselves. We assume nothing is happening. But for your dog, everything is happening. Now, let's go back to something we touched on earlier. Because not every stare is soft or calm. Sometimes, it's persistent. Your dog stares. You ignore it. They keep staring. Longer. More focused. Almost like they're trying harder. This is where communication becomes more direct. Dogs don't have language in the way we do. They rely on repetition. Signals. Behavior patterns. When a stare becomes persistent, it's no longer just observation or bonding. It's a message. But here's the mistake many owners make. They assume the message is always simple. Food. Walk. Attention. And sometimes, yes, it is. But not always. Because dogs also use staring to communicate discomfort. A need that isn't being met. Or even confusion. Maybe their routine has changed. Maybe something in their environment feels off. Maybe they're trying to understand a new boundary you've set. And instead of acting out, they watch. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for you to respond. And this is where your awareness matters. Because how you respond to that stare shapes your dog's understanding of the world. Ignore it completely, and they may become more persistent or more withdrawn. Respond inconsistently, and they may become confused. But respond with awareness. And something powerful happens. You begin to speak the same silent language. There's one more type of stare that often goes unnoticed. And it's the one that happens when you're about to leave. You pick up your keys. Put on your shoes. Move toward the door. And your dog watches you. Not moving. Not making noise. Just staring. And this stare carries a different kind of weight. Because your dog already knows what's about to happen. Dogs are masters of pattern recognition. They don't need explanations. They read sequences. Keys. Shoes. Door. It means you're leaving. And in that moment, the stare isn't about stopping you. It's about processing. There's a quiet mix of anticipation and acceptance. They're watching to confirm what they already feel. And this is where the emotional depth of dogs becomes impossible to ignore. Because they're not reacting impulsively. They're observing, understanding, and adapting. All through a single look. So the next time your dog stares at you, pause. Don't rush to interpret it as something simple. Look closer. At their body. Their stillness. Their eyes. Because that moment isn't empty. It's full of meaning. It might be curiosity. Or connection. Or confusion. Or even comfort. But it's never nothing. And maybe that's the part that changes everything. Because once you realize your dog isn't just living beside you, but constantly trying to understand you, the relationship shifts. You stop seeing behaviors as random. You start seeing communication. And that silent stare, the one you used to ignore, becomes a conversation. One that doesn't need words. One that's built on trust, awareness, and something deeper than we often give dogs credit for. So the next time you feel those eyes on you, don't look away too quickly. Because in that quiet moment, your dog might be saying more than you ever imagined.